I'm Jonny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith and Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things. Didn't think I was going to start this here podcast with an apology, but I'm going to send an apology out, Rich, to the dance music producer Scooter.
Ah.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I really ought to say sorry because I'm not saying sorry for his music because it's still irritating and shit. But we had a letter from a chap called Dylan Malkin. Hello, SSGs. I couldn't help but chuckle over the latest podcast about Johnny's mention of early noughties Eurodance band Scooter. I felt a piece of useless trivia may add to your discussion as the lead singer, a German who goes by the name of H.P. Baxter with two X's, is quite the helmsman, it seems. In the music video for One, which is O-N-E, he is driving a 1973 Jag E-Type V12. And he also drives around in a 1961 Jag Mark II, and he's also got a Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 3 Cabrio. So he's a British car enthusiast, it seems.
Well, I was similarly tipped off about this by one of our patrons, Marcus, who said, "Dear Jonny and Richard, I had to drop you a line after hearing your chat about Scooter in the latest episode because you'll love this. H.P. Baxter, brackets, yes, out of off of Germany and Scooter, has a car collection that is an absolute roller coaster of old money Britishness." Let's start with the piece de resistance, a Land Rover Defender 110 in the same bronze green as Prince Philip's funeral wagon.
What?
Yeah, when Baxter saw it online, he naturally had to slap down €94,500. Very specific. It's a former fire truck from South Tyrol, V8 engine and all that, and he's had it kitted out with a cherry wood bar in the back. Perfect for a post-rave G&T.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Jägermeister, surely.
Well, yes, exactly. A few of them. Those. Marcus goes on to say his first car was a VW Beetle. Right. Marcus knows a lot about H.P. Baxter out of off of Germany and Scooter. He says he drove the Beetle all the way to Lorette de Mar for a holiday, only for a rear wheel to overtake him on the motorway. Classic. Wow. After that, he upgraded to a beige Mark I Golf.
Gosh, well, so H.P. Baxter, I'm not going to delve too much into Scooter because I thought he was Scooter and Scooter was him.
Yes.
But maybe not. Maybe it's a collective. But the fact that he owns all these, I feel like we need to talk to him now, that he owns all these brick cars. He's obviously got such a thing for them.
Well, it goes on because Marcus says that thanks to a royalty check from Argentina, he picked up a dark green Mini with a white roof and the obsession was born. He's been through a bunch of Minis, Woody, pickup and a Moke.
Really?
His current lineup includes 3 Rolls-Royces, 2 Jaguar E-Types and a Range Rover for everyday use. And in true Baxter style, he's now got his eye on a Lamborghini Espada because, in his words, the designer, quote-unquote, borrowed from the E-Type. So in his mind, it's kind of British.
I wonder why he likes British cars so much, because it is quite unusual, I would say, for a German person to have that many brick cars.
I don't know. I've heard of this before, the sort of hardcore Brit car enthusiasts in Germany. I mean, it's like we don't really question if someone here is a massive BMW fan, do we? Just go, oh, you like BMWs. It's one of those things where you sort of, it's also when you find out that somebody, in France or something is really into old Rovers, you sort of go, what? Why? But it's no more weird than somebody here being really into old Peugeots, and we wouldn't sort of give that a second thought. Somehow we sort of imagine that people from the abroad only support their home team, and it's not true.
No, that's true. Although the French are very, very good at buying local.
They are. Yes.
They're very good.
But I'm sure. Well, I mean, also, again, and it's different because maybe they don't have such a strong car industry, but that nice chap we met at the Festival of the Unexceptional who was from the Netherlands, but is a massive Rover 75 enthusiast.
Oh, huge. Huge. Is that the guy that was wanting to buy a Montego?
No, sorry, he was a massive Montego enthusiast.
And he was really young.
Beg your pardon. Really young.
Really young and exclusively into Montegos. It was very unusual, but cool unusual.
Yeah, no, absolute respect for him. I don't imagine there's many people in the Netherlands, or indeed any other country outside the UK, who are hardcore Montego loyalists, but fair play to him for picking a lane and then sticking to it.
Oh,
well, that's scooter news. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was meaning to raise that. Since we are also talking about things mentioned in previous podcasts and Germany, sort of.
What?
I'm going to mispronounce this surname now, but I'm going to give it a run up. Martin Jungowski.
That was terrible, Rich.
Jungowski. Jung or Jung? Jung.
Always young. Yeah.
Jugendhergenbergen. Jungowski. Martin Jungowski. There we go. Got it. He says, "Howdy, you two most excellent flutes. Listening to your ramblings about the Stapler Cup, I felt the sudden and very German need to give you a brief lesson on the origin and pronunciation of the word Stapler.
Oh.
The German word for forklift is Gabelstapler, which literally translates to fork stacker. Gabel equals fork, stapler equals stacker, as in to stack something on top of something else. Like many German words that can get quite long, it is, however, commonly shortened to just Stapler. Regarding the pronunciation, unless you live in the far, far north of Germany, the S in the letter combination ST is usually pronounced sh, as you would pronounce the word shtick, or, as a matter of fact, the sh in Aschaffenburg. Is it Aschaffenburg? Aschaffenburg, wherever that Stapler championship was.
Oh, yes.
So Martin says, think Stapler when saying that word. Keep up the good work, and greetings from a German expat in Texas, which sort of explains the howdy at the top, I suppose.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you, Martin. So Stapler Cup is how it's pronounced. And did you check the diary? How are you looking to go to this next month, or this month, in fact?
I'm not able to go, which is deeply frustrating, because I would have moved as much as possible in the diary to make it happen, but I'm not sure I can do it. Sad face, but but I have to say that for radio purposes. But yeah, nevertheless, I think we have to do it next year. But there's something else, because us talking about our surprised World Championship of Forklift action has seemed to have opened a box of other odd championships. And I'm now scrolling down our bloody email, because I can't remember who forwarded it to us, but it was to do with the tram driving World Championships. Have you not heard about this?
No, I missed this.
Oh my gosh! I'll find the email. But I thought someone was taking the piss, and then I went on the website, and it is a World Championship tram driving. And then I thought to myself, but it's on rails. Like what?
Yeah.
What's the discipline?
Wait, no, hang on.
Yeah.
There's stopping, right? So presumably stopping in a very precise way.
Strategic stopping. There's even kicking a football into a goal.
Oh.
So you have to, I guess, slow the tram down or speed the tram up, hit a big inflatable beach ball on the track, and then the ball hopefully goes in the goal. But also I think maybe you have to time it so that the tram stops in a certain point. I mean, bloody hell, Rich, I don't know. All I know is that suddenly, again, I feel like I've got to go and see this, because it's fantastic.
All right, is this now... This has to be in the Netherlands, surely.
Right, let me have a look. Hang on.
Or... It's Benelux. I'm smelling Benelux. Tram enthusiasm and uptake is pretty strong there. It's not going to be here, is it? Because it's like, where's the tram championship happening?
It's in Vienna. It was in Vienna this year.
Well, this means nothing to me.
Damn, it's only just happened.
Oh,
it's only middle of September it happened. Shit. It was the 12th European Tram Driver Championship.
This is a 21st century phenomenon. I assumed it had been going since sort of 1842 or something, but
no.
Wow.
If you go on their website, tramem.eu, European Tram, you can see there's actually crowds of people. They've attached snooker cues to the front of a tram, and it.
How are you going to play snooker with a tram? That's ridiculous.
I just don't know, but I think it's great. There's 10-pin bowling from what I can see in this short video. I mean, it's bonkers.
So, essentially, they've just applied lots of sports to trams, but that's so stupid.
This is so... I know.
Tram basketball.
I love this. I've just seen that this is the itinerary for the 2025 championships. Day 1, individual arrival of teams. Shuttle service from airport or train station to the team hotel. Registration in the hotel. Day 2, meet and greet and training. 9 a.m, welcome of teams. Training. 11 a.m, training classes in groups and visit the depot. 6 p.m.
Hang on.
What?
This sounds like it's geared towards people who've never driven a tram before.
No, it has to be. It has to be real.
If you're a professional tram driver, why would you be excited to look round a depot? It's like that's your office. You go there every day.
Well, it says here, participation. Any transport company that operates its own tram network in Europe can take part in the Tram EM. Each transport company / each city may register a maximum of 1 team, and that team consists of a male driver, a female driver, and a team coach. When they say coach, I think a human, not a piece of, not a carriage.
I wouldn't get on a coach and I won't have them in the house.
Yeah.
We're tram people.
Exactly. Participation obliges you to cover the travel expenses for your own team and for a room for your team for 3 nights in a hotel. It's brilliant. So you have to pay for yourself to get there. Basically, you just have to do it for the sheer love of it. Wow. This is great.
But I'm looking at their website here, and there's some video plays in the
listen,
top of it.
Guys,
it looks like have people brought their own trams from home?
I
There's
don't.
sort of different designs of trams. You have to bring the tram.
Maybe.
That's bananas.
Any transport company that operates its own tram network in Europe can host the Tram EM. The date for organising a Tram EM is flexible. Many transport companies combine the organisation of a Tram EM with an anniversary or opening or other public celebration. This is so good.
I just noticed something that showed this. There's a little board here somewhere that I've lost it now.
I'm really annoyed that I can't find the email.
People
of the
holding up
who actually brought this to my attention.
Hosting. Oh, you can. Okay, so you can host it. Okay.
Yeah, you can host it. So, like Manchester could do it because Manchester's got a tram system, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Where else in Britain's got a tram system?
Blackpool.
Oh yeah. It's more a sort of novelty tram, though, isn't it? It's not a functional transport network. Well, I suppose it gets.
Do they not entertain the novelty tram, or is that for lightweights?
I reckon they would be slightly dismissive of the novelty tram.
Yeah.
For not taking tramming seriously enough.
Yeah. I think you might be right, actually. I think you might be absolutely right.
Well, this is, excellent.
How good
so actually last year, or this year rather, it was in Frankfurt. Vienna is next year, so they do move it around.
Oh, okay. Can we put it in the diary for next year, Rich? And
do you know which European city won this year?
No, I don't.
We could be here all day. Paris, no. Amsterdam, no. It was Budapest.
Was it?
Yes, and it's the 3rd time that the team has brought the cup home to Hungary.
Bloody
they won
hell.
in 2012 and 2016 as well. So,
would you call them a helmsman, a driver of a tram, or would you call it something else?
That's a good question. Driver, I suppose.
Don't trams have a lever? They have a lever rather than a wheel.
Did you know? I don't know.
I thought they had a lever.
I'm extremely disappointed to see that, in fact, in this year's contest, Budapest won, but they only just won, just pipping Brussels, with Krakow in 3rd. And a strong showing from the Swedes in 8th and 9th, Gothenburg and Stockholm. But I don't see Manchester on this. It's Birmingham's there. They came 14th.
Oh, did they?
Well, actually, joint 14th with Bratislava.
I bet they went out there and they were so excited to just have a couple of days off that they went and got banjaxed on like shots and stuff. And then the next day their coordination was awful. Even when they had a big sloppy egg breakfast, they still were like...
Also, they'd forgotten to bring a tram from home, so they had to borrow one from Leipzig.
What, like borrowing PE kit at school?
Exactly. There's a lost prop bin of broken trams they had to rummage through and go, oh, look, hey, hang on a minute. There's one here that used to do service in Prague. We'll cobble that together. The 26 teams took part. Last place is Zagreb, which leads me to think you shouldn't get on a tram in Zagreb because it's going to be very badly driven, but maybe it doesn't work like that.
That's actually a well subscribed amount of teams. 26.
It's amazing how many cities have got trams.
I love a tram
because I assume you have to still have a functioning tram network to take part. But yeah, Zurich, Barcelona. Do you know Barcelona's got trams? I don't remember. Edinburgh.
Bloody hell.
Edinburgh didn't do too well actually. They came basically 22nd out of 26.
I'll find the two people that did email us. I am useless and I apologise. I'll find them and I will name check them. And someone actually DM'd us on Instagram to say there's also a rapid boat reversing around a quayside competition held in America. And I watched one video of it and I nearly fell over. It's so frantic and dangerous. So a boat hard accelerates away from the from its mooring, goes round like a short jetty, and then has to quickly reverse into a space on the other side of the jetty and have ropes thrown on and moored up. So the clock stops when the two moorings are in place. And the guy nearly falls out the boat when he throws the second rope because of the way the bow wave that he's created. It nearly knocks him out the boat. It's so. Do you know what it reminds me of? Is as humans, we're such idiots. We are such idiots. Sometimes we invent these great things. Then we go, yeah, let's compete. We go, no, I don't think we need to compete with that. I think we just celebrate that it's quite useful and we just go with it.
I don't know. I think it speaks of something in the human character that we do strive for this sort of stuff. And on that note, a message from a listener called Ray Anderson. He says, ahoy there, flutes. Currently listening to your latest podcast. Johnny's enthusiasm for the Forklift World Championships got me thinking. He was also very confused and excited a couple of weeks ago about the ins and outs of Autoglass/Carglass /Belron. Now, as an Autoglass technician, I feel it's only right to introduce you to the World Championship of Windscreen Fitting, a.k.a. Best of Belron.
What? Windscreen Fitting Championship?
Ray says this competition is held every 2 years and it's open to the whole of the Belron network, i.e. it's global. The event starts with regional qualifiers where the winners go on to the national finals. This is whittled down to, I believe, 4 technicians, and the winner from each country qualifies for the world finals, which this year were held in Portugal.
Oh my gosh.
I've attached a link to the event, which I feel you may find interesting. Well, we'll slap that up on the Patreon for people to enjoy. But yes, there is genuinely every 2 years a windscreen fitting contest.
We've got to go because surely will Smith and Smith be competing?
That's a good point, actually.
Because
I'm just seeing
we need
here that this year, the contest was held this year. David Chester from Belron in Canada was the winner, but second place, George Pym from Autoglass UK. Third place, Andrei Zavsek from Carglass Slovenia. Doesn't say. Let's have a look.
I want Smith and Smith being there.
What is the most useful thing we could do here? And I reckon it might be that when the cars, I presume they use cars rather than just a rig, but I don't know, but we have to drive a series of second-hand cars through extremely gravelly conditions until the windscreen cracks or shatters.
Yes.
And then we pull into the competition arena and go, sort that out.
That's a great idea. It reminds me of the time when I went down, when years ago I lived in London and my brother lived in Dorset. And I drove down to see him one weekend, and on the way down, I was with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and she was sitting on the passenger seat with her feet on the dash. And as we were going along the motorway, she obviously stretched and pushed her feet out to the windscreen, and the pressure obviously pushing on the windscreen from the other side, the forces didn't like one another, and a huge crack went across the whole windscreen. So we had a massive row about it because I was pissed off.
Yeah,
I'd ruined.
Rightly so.
Yeah, she'd ruined the windscreen. I was on the way down to Greg's for the weekend. So when we got down there, apart from saying hi and having a few drinks, it was like, listen, do you know anyone that can do windscreens quickly? And because I don't want to do it in London, it's too congested and annoying. So we went round early on a Saturday morning to a local one-man band type windscreen dude. I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I was in a Mark II Polo Coupe, just for reference, folks. Black, 5-speed, 1 litre. Rare with the 5-speed, I hasten to add.
5-speed with the 1 litre, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the one.
That's
I found it specifically. It was best colour, cheapest engine, best gearing.
Best colour, don't start.
Yes, best,
Find
just
another.
best. Yeah, Sir Ranulph would have been licking his lips. So the guy that said he'd fit it in and do it for cash, I saw him fitting another screen as we pulled up with a cigarette in his mouth. And he did the whole thing with the cig in his mouth, not moving, just puffing away. And the ash, like the ash was almost the length of the cigarette by the time he'd finished. Yeah. So good. Hardly moved his head while he was working.
Hands-free smoking. Bluetooth smoking, effectively.
It is sort of Bluetooth smoking. Pre-vape,
because there was a guy who used to work at my local hand car wash in London who could do that. And it always fascinated me because he had the rubber gloves on. And obviously they're wet. So I don't know if he took a glove off, cigarette in the mouth, lit, glove back on, and then he could be working on a car but Bluetooth smoking without once touching the cigarette. Or
a member of his team was nominated to be the fag lighter.
Yeah, load him up.
Yeah, so they all
get
one
in the chamber and then off he goes.
Exactly.
But it's an amazing thing to behold because he didn't ever look like he was in any danger of losing control of the cigarette or sort of getting all blinky because smoke's gone in his eyes.
I was going to say, surely his eyes would be streaming.
I don't know. Maybe he's used to it. Maybe he's just his eyes have become sort of battle hardened because of the pungent chemicals he was sometimes required to use as well. Alloy wheel cleaner. I mean, that stuff.
Oh, evil.
Yeah.
So this windscreen guy with the cig on. He was doing a job, and as we pulled up and he acknowledged us, a minute later, this car came screeching into the car park. This gives you an idea of how long ago it was. It was a very late Ford Cortina.
Oh.
And it had all of the windows smashed, all of them. And the bloke got out of the car, and as he shut the door, like glass went onto the driver's seat. There were still bits of glass everywhere. But he was smiling. That was what was weird. And he smiled and he was walking over. And the guy obviously they knew one another. And he looked up and he went, "What the bloody hell's happened here?" And he went, "The husband came home."
God.
And so he was being naughty and he got all his windows smashed. So the whole time the guy was doing our windscreen. When I say the whole time, it took him like 3 minutes. It was really impressive. And he had a Polo windscreen in stock. Of course, he didn't just try and put like a Foden lorry windscreen in there and send us on our way. He was talking to this guy about how they were going to find all the pieces of glass for this car because he said, "I've got the screen, but I haven't got the side windows, and we're going to have to." And the guy was going, "Well, I got to go to work on Monday, so I can't have my car with no windows in." But yeah, that guy that fitted the windscreen, he could have been a contender for the World Windscreen Fitting Championship because he was quick with the cig on, Bluetooth cigging as well. Very impressive.
Was there a screen on those Polos gasket, or was it bonded in?
It was old school gasket rubber. Yeah, I don't think
it was a different time.
It was a different time. It just used a piece of string and a cigarette, it seems.
Yeah.
that was it. It was really impressive.
Everything was done with string and cigarettes in those days.
Oh, yeah. He probably drank, 50 mil of water a day? Maybe 100 mil of water?
Oh, if that.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
Good. Since we're sort of reffing back to stuff, I have a little message about knob steering, which we mentioned last week.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. I love a knob on the steering wheel.
Richard Gosling says the discussion in the last episode about forklift-style steering wheel knobs took me back to the late 90s when I worked at Lotus as an engine design engineer. One of my colleagues was Peter Williams, who, as well as being an excellent engineer, was in a previous life a motorcycle Grand Prix racer.
Oh.
When I knew him, the left side of his body was barely functional. The leg worked sort of, but the arm was totally inoperative. I assumed this was the consequence of a racing accident, although I was never brave enough to ask. On one occasion, I accompanied him on a trip to a supplier in Cambridge. Given his limited limb functionality, the car, I think it was an Astra, was an automatic, and the steering wheel was enhanced with a forklift-style knob. His physical limitations, the experience of almost destroying his body, and his relegation from 2 wheels to 4 had clearly not dimmed his instinct for speed, and the cross-country trip from Hethel to Cambridge was possibly the most terrifying passenger experience I've ever had. I shouldn't have worried. His control through the wheel knob was excellent, and the journey was completed without incident. So, if you launch a wheel knob racing series, I would put good money on Peter Williams for the title. Although he died in 2020, I wouldn't count on that slowing him too much.
Oh,
So
Peter
there we
sounds
go.
like quite the knob helmsman.
Yeah, this is... So, when I was complaining that perhaps knob steering would rob you of some sensitivity and ability to do more subtle inputs, clearly Peter Williams, may he rest in peace, has disproved that. But yeah, so there we go. Knob steering at speed is perfectly possible. Your Caterham Championship can go ahead.
I think that's going to be nothing short of exciting. Maybe we could do a road trip to the European tram driving championships. Do you know what, Rich? Look, with the 3 boys ending Grand Tour, why don't Amazon just show us the money? We road trip to Tram Drivers Championship, road trip to Windscreen Fitters Championship. These things are golden. Come on.
I mean, why not?
Why the hell not?
Bring the show down in scale and glamour a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's seen massive road trips across huge swathes of Africa. But have they seen 2 men knob steering their way across Europe to go to a forklift or tram driving championship?
Oh, come on. We could imagine now if we invited H.P. Baxter from Scooter to the Forklift Drivers Championship and he emceed it and obviously did the after party, which would be extremely high energy Euro dance.
Is H.P. Baxter his real name? Because it feels like it's not, but it's a very odd one to choose. And I'm sort of thrown off a bit because I used to have a cat called Baxter. So it doesn't feel like... It feels like a cat's name to me. Okay. It's not his real name. But H.P. are his real initials. His name is Hans Peter.
Oh, is it? Hans Peter Baxter?
Yeah, Hans Peter Geerdes. No, Hans Peter... Geerdes. Geerdes?
Yes.
And it doesn't say, why did he change his name to Baxter on Wikipedia, so we may never know. It's named after Richard's old cat.
Yeah, he loves you. He's read all your books. He really likes Steel Flies.
Yeah.
Yes, by Ray Lanchester.
The plot was surprisingly good,
yes,
he said. It's in this Wikipedia entry for him under personal life. It confirms what we were told by a couple of listeners that he's an automotive enthusiast. He owns and collects many old British cars. He is an Anglophile, having grown up consuming English television and music, and claims to, quote unquote, have always liked the dignified English way of life.
Really? I feel bad for damning his music now.
Well, I think we can still damn his music because it's bloody awful, but he seems like he might be an actual SSG.
Yeah, he could be, couldn't he?
Whatever that is in German.
Schnell, schnell gehen, which just means fast, fast going.
Fast go. I'm going to do a Google Translate since we're here, because I'm going to be curious. I'm sure proper, actual German listeners will be in touch.
I bet you he wears. Do you imagine? Imagine the pedal box of a V12 Jag E-Type, when you're wearing those high-heeled, metal-fronted, kind of weird boots. You know the ones. I don't know.
Sorry, I can't.
What? That sounds like she's talking to a pillow.
It's Google Translate trying to tell me what sweet guy is, but I shouldn't have done that because it won't stop playing now. I had to mute my laptop. Anyway, well, there we go. So, HP Sauce Baxter, the cat, is a British enthusiast. I do feel a bit guilty for bad-mouthing him now because he's probably listening. Because he loves British stuff.
So before I talk about underground car parks for cats in China...
Wait a sec. If we're going to Animal Corner, we haven't discussed on the podcast the fact that you've had a hedgehog infiltrate your tortoise enclosure.
Oh, yeah.
Which you told me last week, and I find fascinating. Well, because I've got two animals with very strong self-defence facilities built in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this time of year, obviously the ambient temperature is dropping, and it's almost time to start winding the tortoises down and bringing them indoors. So I've got 3 tortoise enclosures in my garden, and 3 tortoises, and they move between the enclosures. One of them's a big enclosure, one of them's a small one. Anyway, that's boring. What I need to tell you is the fact that I check them every night. So even if I come back from a job quite late, I'll go out in the garden with a torch, and I'll just make sure they're tucked up as best as possible. One night, a couple of weeks ago, I lifted the hatch and rummaged around in some of the bedding, and I put my hand on a frigging hedgehog. Then I realised the hedgehog was actually really warm. But it was right next to the tortoise, the biggest tortoise. I thought, bloody hell, okay. Right. I covered that back up and then tiptoed away. Yeah. And the next night, it was in the other hutch, and it sort of pushed...
Can I just ask, what noise does one make when one accidentally puts one's hand on an unexpected hedgehog? Because I can imagine you might go, ah!
Do you know what I did? I was about to blurt something out, but I sort of bit my lip. I remember it vividly, and I muttered under my breath, fucking shit.
Okay.
And then I walked away, and I said it again. But
have you ever had this before?
No. I haven't had it before. Although, if it's the same hedgehog, I was pulling into the drive on one of those really balmy hot summer's nights a couple of months back, late, probably midnight from a job, in an electric car, and the headlights swung in, and I nearly ran over a hedgehog on my own drive. Luckily, I saw it, but it did that thing where it just froze and stayed still and didn't move for the whole time I was there. But I'm thinking, because hedgehogs, they've got a hard life because people put in fences and with concrete bases and things, and they can't get from garden to garden like they used to when there's normal hedges. So I'm thinking it's quite nice that I've got this visitor, but the problem is it is sort of cuckooing its way in. So I found it sleeping with the other 2 tortoises. But it sort of barged them to the side. One of them was propped up like a kind of, like a car that had fallen off the road and gone down a ditch.
Ditch car, yes.
And then
it did have police tape.
It did have police. That police are aware about this incident. And then, a couple of nights later, I checked again, and one of the tortoises was missing. So I spent about an hour looking around the garden in all the shrubs because it was going to be a fairly cool night. And this is when we had tons of rain. I spent an hour looking, couldn't find him. Bums. Next night, went out there. Next day, trying to find him, couldn't find him. 3 nights late, took me 3 nights to find him. And he was just huddled under like a really pathetic tree, like a shrub. But I think he'd been pushed out of the hutch because the hedgehog had parked right in the doorway, pretty much. So the hedgehog couldn't get past. But then you said to me, do you think the hedgehog hurts the tortoise? And I'm like, I don't think it does because the spines are not quite as spiny as a porcupine or a cactus. And the tortoises have obviously got a really strong, thick shell. But maybe the tortoises like the feeling of abrasion because they do quite like a scratch.
Well, this is what I was wondering. So, on the one hand, what's the hedgehog getting out of it? It's getting somewhere cosy to sleep, but also maybe nicking some of the tortoise's food if there's any in there. But
what happens is the tortoise food attracts slugs.
Oh, does it?
And guess who likes slugs?
Oh, so it really is a symbiotic relationship because this is what I thought. The hedgehog's bringing warmth. It's warm-blooded.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Tortoises, nice warm hedgehogs to cosy up against.
Yeah.
They don't mind the prickles because they've got shells. So it really is. It's a beautiful symbiotic relationship between two very different but very well-defended creatures.
I feel like I've missed the opportunity to take an amazing Christmas card photo with these two snuggled up together. But anyway, well, one of the tortoises is still outside. So that's what's happened there. On that side of things.
You're listening to Britain's #1 car podcast. More hedgehog and tortoise news soon.
To get straight back to car action, we've got a letter from Australia, Rich. We love our Australian listeners. There's perhaps dozens of them. So there's a sweet guy called Tom Hope. Hi, Rich. Hi, Johnny. I've just got back from a Sunday drive through leafy Adelaide Hills to the National Motor Museum. It wasn't the Bugatti Type 35B, it wasn't the Goggo-mobile or several Holden concept cars that had me taking photographs. Oh no. First off, it was a 1907 All Days and Onions. And not 50... Oh. Yeah. Nice one. He's shared the pictures and I will put these on Patreon for our Patreon people. But not even 50 metres away from the All Days and Onions, the jackpot. An airbrushed 1976 Bedford van named Mystic Fantasy. Close your eyes and picture it, guys.
Fantasy.
Yes. Mystic
Jesus Christmas.
Mystic Fantasy. He said, close your eyes and picture it. Yeah, you've got it exactly right. It's blue, with a centaur, Pegasus, and a naked lady with long white hair. I could not stop giggling. My 11-year-old who was with me said it was, in inverted commas, cringe.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, photos attached. Feel free to use. Thanks for the laughs. CMTMB. P.S. Every time I see a Range Rover spout, I have to mutter spout out loud, and I just can't help it. You utter strokers. Well, Tom, I have to say, I'm looking at this Bedford van, and it's it's metal flake, and it's got Frenched in double aerials on the front wing, and there's even airbrushing on the little wing mirrors, and I think it's a woman with a ponytail which has fairy dust coming off it. It's brilliant. The Centaur, just so you can get a better picture here, the Centaur has a huge battle axe which is gold and shimmering. And the front end of the Centaur, which is a man, is pretty, I'd say, gym fit. Okay,
okay, good.
And wearing a helmet, but with long hair coming out the back end. And then the lady is actually stroking the Pegasus, who is rearing up on the back legs, but almost ghostly. It's translucent where there's a starry night in the background. And I'll end it by saying there's also a coffin-shaped bubble window in the side of this van.
Oh, God.
It's got Smith & Sniff World Tour written all over it. It really has.
Well, yes. If we decide to take things in an even more cringe direction, I think then this will be absolutely prime for it.
I love the fact
Dear
that
God.
Those are the...
Why is this in a museum?
I
suppose
don't...
just as a curio of times past.
Well, it is. It is of its time, very much so. Mystic Fantasy. It says he's taken a picture of the plaque that accompanies this. It's owned by a chap called Brett Marden. It's got a Holden Straight 6 under the bonnet. And it's put, whilst the popular image of Australian youth culture of the 70s is of panel vans and surfers, there was another van scene. These were the big vans. The big vans gave their builders and the artists who painted them an even larger canvas upon which to focus their talents. The interiors became mobile love palaces, whilst the exteriors became mobile art galleries. Mystic Fantasy was no exception. Built in the early 80s by Ken Phillips. Many body mods were made, such as a fully tilting front end and gull-wing style doors. I didn't realise they had gull-wing doors. This van received the full treatment, painted by Paul Barker. The van became a consistent show winner and graced the covers of many van magazines at the time. Well, van life. Hashtag van life, Rich.
Good.
Seedy van
where's
life.
this? Sorry, this is in Adelaide.
Yeah, Adelaide Hills National Motor Museum. I must go there.
Well, we will make it to Australia at some point, I hope, and we could go there. I wanted to read out a message just because it made me laugh from Ben Moore. Ben says, whilst listlessly wandering about a few weeks ago, a thought appeared in my head. This is not an uncommon occurrence. The words Patina Turner flashed into my brain. I'd not been thinking about patinated cars, nor the now sadly departed singer, but I spent 5 minutes barely able to hold in my laughter from the really shite pun I'd thought of. I was reflecting on this thought and suddenly had another idea. What if Patina Turner was the name of a show? Viewers would let Tina come to their house, look around their beautifully patinated car, and at the end of the series, Tina would judge them and crown one as simply the best.
Oh, gosh.
Tina was always really frustrated by the trite song reference wedged in by the producers, as she had a genuine passion for patination. Series 3 started off as they usually do, with a man called Stephen Stevenson and his beautifully crusty Ford console. But a shock appears in the second episode. Tina rolls up to a person's house and sees this incredible Mazda Cosmo sitting outside. If there was ever an automobile that had the perfect level of rust, there was one there. Tina walks up to the door and rings the doorbell, the microphone picking up sharp tones echoing through the house. The door slowly opens to reveal the one and only Sade.
Oh, wow.
The Queen of Rotary herself has decided to come on the show and set a new precedent for just how good ferric oxide can look. While Dave Davidson's Morris Minor comes close, Sade's Cosmo takes home the Simply the Best victory, which is a trophy of Tina Turner awkwardly standing next to a pervy bibendum. Ratings are through the roof.
Pervy bibendum. So it's,
thank you, Ben. The idea brilliant. Of Patina Turner really made me laugh.
It's ever so lightly corroded Cosmo owned by Sade.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
But it's judged to perfection, where you just go, it'd be your ideal, that was sort of a visually slightly shabby car, but mechanically it is beyond factory perfection.
Spot on. To the point where she's even had it dry ice blasted underneath and in the arches, and that's been wax protected. That's the way I'd enter my 2CV into the Patina Turner.
I was going to say Patina Turner might dig if only she was still with us. What I find funny about this is the visual image of it's like sort of, you know, the next episode, and they're in Corby in the East Midlands at an old row of council garages, but there's Tina Turner in full, very short leopard skin skirt and extremely high heels with massive hair. Like, she's not compromised her look one iota for the fact she's going to be grubbing round a series of medium-sized provincial British towns.
What, that kind of candy floss style, almost feathery waistcoat that she'd be wearing, or like an evening gown, that just like one tiny piece of jagged metal would destroy that outfit.
Yes.
But she's willing to take the risk.
Yes.
Do you get marked down?
Won't know it's me.
Tina marks patinated cars down for steamy windows, but obviously the director loves that because it's just easy opportunity to, in the edit, stick the clip in of said song.
And again, she's really cross that the producers are just enjoying the pun aspect of this, because she genuinely finds it distressing if a car has obvious water leaks into the interior and the carpets have become a little sodden. She doesn't enjoy that. That's not patina.
No, it's not.
That's just annoying.
That's misery. What about You know those car coons, the sort of storage bubbles that you can put cars in?
Yes.
She decides that there's an easy money-making opportunity here. So every winner gets her own brand of car coon-style storage unit, but it's called the Thunderdome. And she sings to them really close to their face, sort of invading their personal space. We don't need another hero, while setting it up with a small compressor.
It's one of the things actually that's quite good about Tina Turner is I reckon that she has such a powerful voice, she could be heard even over a mid-strength compressor.
Oh shit, yeah, absolutely. It'd be one of those really annoying kind of like sleepover airbed spec ones that just go...
Oh, God. Yeah.
And you halfway through the session, I used to pause it and go, would this be quicker if I was to just blow it frantically? I'm starting to wonder if this is a waste of electricity. So that's well, if only Tina could do that, or we find 2 Tina Turner impressionists.
Oh, there must still be a load.
And one of
Tina
them's
Turner
called
tribute
Pat,
acts.
and one of them's called Tina, and they're a pair. They're a duo. Pat and Tina.
Hang on, let's find it. There must be people still working doing Tina Turner. I mean, her music's
Of course there will. Her music's
still popular, isn't it? People like her music.
Oh, massive. Well, and she did a musical, didn't she? Was there a film about her, or was it a musical? In the last couple of years.
That's a good question. I think there was a musical as well. I think I saw the posters. Was it? In fact, is it still going on? Because musical. Gosh, we've gone down a rabbit hole. Yeah, Tina the musical, presented in association with Tina Turner. It says, which I guess she gave it her blessing while she was still with us.
I know what I wanted to talk to you about. This was something I was going to bring up.
Was it not the Tina Turner musical?
It was actually not the Tina Turner musical.
Damn it.
Yeah. So, guys, listen. My son was 13 the other week. My youngest is now a teenager. Decided he wanted to go to Europe's largest skate park for its big anniversary event. Big up Adrenaline Alley in Corby. And
is that right?
Yeah.
That's Europe's largest skate park?
Yes, it's absolutely colossal. And it's amazing. It is basically a theme park of just plywood. And it's all indoors, so if the weather's gash, it doesn't matter. So we went there and then had a great time. And I love it because he got to meet some of his skating heroes. The next day, I wanted to include my daughter with doing something because she's not interested in the skate park. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what, let's go karting. I booked some karting, and I'm sure many listeners appreciate a little bit of karting. And again, I went for an indoor track because the weather looked iffy. So I booked it in Leicester. That night, after the skate park, because it was Weston's birthday, I said, right, what do you want to eat? We can have anything. I want curry. All right, cool.
Ooh.
So we went and got in some curry takeaway, and we watched a movie, and we had nice snuggles. So I had a big curry, big portion. Next morning, wake up, bit of a lie-in. Couldn't decide what I wanted for breakfast, Rich. What did I do?
God,
had another massive plate of curry.
Whoa!
Yeah, it was great.
Why didn't you wait till lunchtime?
No, I just didn't want to. So because the karting was around just after lunch, and I thought it's too complicated. I'll just eat. I just have a brunch, a curry brunch.
Okay.
Got to the karting place, and I thought to myself, yeah, I think I should probably go to the toilet before we go karting. So did, and then I've never driven this track before, but got into the outfits, had the helmet fitting, all that jazz. And as I started driving out in the kart after the big induction, you know when you're supposed to put your visor nearly down but not quite down, my visor kept falling completely down, so I was torn between, do I have it completely up and my eyes are drying by the second, or do I have it totally down? Well, I was too busy dialing in the racing line. I just thought I'd leave the visor completely down. And I was pulling some G's, I'm not going to lie. And but that came at the consequence of just doing quite a lot of sort of curry burps. And I realised as I was putting in some hot laps, I was just starting to sort of bubble a little bit. And I got to the end of the first session, having learnt the track and was really trying to, do the best I can to Mario Kart some of the cocky young kids out of the way. I realised I lifted up my helmet and just I felt like this whole cloud of Rogan Josh just kind of flew out after me. So what I'm going to say is, I'd say karting after 2 portions of Rogan Josh is not the best idea I've ever had.
No.
I didn't have an accident.
I still can't get past leftover curry for breakfast.
It was actually very good, but people are divided on this.
I think that was bold, yes.
Especially in a helmet that's not yours. Yeah.
I don't imagine Charles Leclerc, for example, does that before an F1 race.
Oh, I bet he does. Massive.
Loves it.
George Russell.
Loves it.
George Russell has a huge madras about 3 hours before the race.
Yeah. And then just as he's on the grid, he'll just have a few cubes of paneer as well, just to keep his energy levels up. He
does those jump squats outside the car, the ones where you jump as high as you can in the air, but then you go straight into the crouch, so your bum cheeks almost touch the ground. He does about 25 of those, and then you don't see him for a couple of minutes, and that's because he runs off and he has a stress plop, and then he gets straight back into the car, and that's his ritual. That's George Russell. That's just the way he rolls.
Yeah, like clockwork.
Completely.
What a wonderful note to arrive on.
Oh, I know. Do you know what I did see coming back from the karting though? I saw there must have been a Land Rover event on. I saw 2 series Land Rovers with no roofs, and they both had carefully choreographed thick rope wrapped around their front bumpers.
Right.
And this has got me thinking that I think there's a bit of cosplay going on with old Land Rover people with the old bumper rope.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Thing. Because I don't think any of them use the rope for anything.
No, I don't. Definitely cosplay is a good way of describing it, I would say.
It is though, isn't it? What's this rope for?
Like it's essentially putting a bracelet on your car.
Yes, it is a
purely
bracelet.
Cosmetic.
Well, these days, Clarkson's got a bracelet, hasn't he, these days? He's got some...
we've talked about this before, haven't we? Yeah, no, he's quite bracelety these days, surprisingly so.
Yeah, surprisingly so, I agree. So I think it's like him suddenly just rocking the wooden beads on the wrist.
Yeah.
That's what series Land Rovers have become.
They've all become gap year. I've got some gap year rope on my series. I just like the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably find if you tried to unfurl it and use it for its actual job, it would have gone incredibly brittle and just come apart or something. But I don't know. It's a good look.
It's like
I might try it if I finally get my Defender out of storage.
It's kind of like narrowboat chic, isn't it? Because obviously narrowboats. They have those for very, very low impact. Quayside
intricately painted watering can on the roof, and then you find out that it's been screwed down.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. So in the same way,
I've never quite understood.
Yeah, your Willis Jeep, your wartime Willis Jeep has got your shovel bolted and screwed, leather strapped to the side.
Maybe this is something that other cars could have sort of appropriate accessories screwed to their exteriors. Like if you have a festival with an exceptional spec like 90s Primera, you could just have a 90s printer and computer monitor screwed to the roof.
That's a great idea.
Like a canal boat.
That's a perfect idea. What with an Olivetti mouse and everything?
Oh, yeah.
A really chunky mouse.
Maybe the mouse could be just on the boot lid. It's like a cheeky little... those when they used to carve church pews and the carpenter would always leave a little... creature or something in the woodwork somewhere. It's a little Easter egg, and so you could have the mouse just bolted to the valance or something. I think that's the thing. Just accessories, needless accessories attached to cars, but they have to be relevant in some way.
They absolutely do. Although
we invite suggestions from listeners at hello@smithandsniff.com.
I'd absolutely love to see someone, I don't know, tooling around Bahrain in a bumperless Lamborghini with a load of barge rope wrapped around it. And
No, but that's not relevant to the Lamborghini, is it? I think a bumperless Lamborghini, you should have some ridiculous sunglasses and a pile of cocaine screwed to the roof.
Oh, that's a great idea. Or what about some terribly expensive but terrible shoes? They should be screwed
terrible
to the roof
shoes.
As well.
Yeah.
So ones which they look like
and,
some sort of Aladdin or period drama shoes that they're $3,000, but like my brother wouldn't wear them if you gave him 20k. Yeah, those.
Before we end, can I just bring up something that I just realised? I've got this in my notes and from last week, and it just baffled me because it felt like a setup, but it's not. It's a press release from Volkswagen. Bear with me. The press release says all-electric Volkswagen ID7 Pro S covers 794 kilometres on one battery charge.
What?
So essentially, VW did a range test. They say it was driven on a defined route in actual traffic, which included both main through roads and motorway sections. And they're very pleased, which is why they put out a release, because it did this distance, it's 493 miles on a single charge in 15 hours and 42 minutes, exceeding the claimed 440-mile range of the car. The reason I bring this up is this was done by Volkswagen Team Switzerland and headed by long-range driving expert Felix Egolf.
What?
And you went, I'm sorry, the Volkswagen have done a new electric driving test led by Felix Egolf. I don't believe you. And I've looked this up. He appears to exist. This is not a made-up name. I promise you, his surname is Egolf. Egolf.
That's ridiculous.
I know. It's like Land Rover have set a new off-road driving record in the new Defender, led by their chief driver, Peter Discovery Sport. No. You're making this up. This is bullshit. This is like something I'd do on Sniff Petrol years ago. It's like, what the fuck? But seriously, Felix Egolf.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it makes it sound like they've just made the whole thing up, because that nothing sounds plausible anymore. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it baffled me a little bit. But I have checked. Felix Egolf is a real man with a really strange name for a Volkswagen employee.
Well, last thing I need to mention is a little bit of news from Cumbria.
Okay.
And any no-name full suspension.
Is it raining?
No, I don't know. Probably.
Let's assume so.
Any no-name full suspension mountain bike guys listening to this podcast could possibly be excited about this, because your Mecca has been found by listener Nick Pearson. Nick says, SSGs, having spotted several no-name full suspension mountain bike guys around the West Cumbrian region, I happened across the attached establishment, which possibly answers the never-asked question of where are they all going. I've clicked the image, and I will share this with us on Google Street View. There is a cafe called No Name Bar and Kitchen.
What?
It's called No Name Bar and Kitchen. I will get the full.
How strange.
Yep, I know. Hang on, no, I'm going to just look it up in case he's augmented the picture and it's not real. But it's not that I don't believe you.
Quite an ambitious thing to do, but
No Name Bar and Kitchen. Here we go. It's on Instagram, and hang on, it says it's permanently closed.
Ah,
seriously?
I was just about to say we should go there for a no-name full English breakfast.
Well, it's it's in Whitehaven, 22 Marketplace, Whitehaven. Although it says it's now closed permanently, which is not great. Although it had a 4.7 out of 5, so
not bad.
Well, there we go. So
good. Well, there we go.
We've had lots of no-name full suspension mountain bike ride-outs letters. So don't worry.
Maybe
you'll all be the first to know.
Trot through. Yes,
if we do that on that side of things.
Well, that's it for now. But we should probably chain this to a lamppost before it gets out of control. Before we go, though, I have 3 things to tell you. First one is that Johnny's involved in a fascinating project to remake a 1960s Beatles film, but starring only our favourite female singer, under the working title A Sade Night. If that's not to your taste, then there's always the Late Break Show. Lots of excellent videos about cars on there. What have we got at the moment?
You idiot. Every time you do this, I actually forget any content that I put out on my channel because I'm just giggling at the idiocy of what you've just said. Okay, so if you haven't already watched me driving around in a shrunken down, brand new old Bentley blower and enjoying a McDonald's drive-through, which I don't because I hate drive-throughs. There's a video, a barn find this weekend. Yeah, there's a barn find, and it's, if you like, French hot hatchery, specifically homologation hot hatchery.
Oh,
we discovered this was a barn find that we got told about while we were on a barn find. It's a bit of an unusual one. So the guy that was showing us round the barn, round the garage of his late stepfather, said, I've actually got a couple of cars in a barn that you might be interested in, nice and casual. One thing led to another. We stayed another night at the hotel and we had to go and film it. So really good. One owner, homologation, French hot hatch, with another 3 hatches parked next to it, all of which are impressive for car perverts anyway. So that's that, Rich. Yeah?
Good.
That's that.
I'll be tuning in. Or
and
whatever you do
I keep forgetting to add this other piece of news. My brother's trying to sell his Golf diesel. I should have announced this a long time ago, and he's lightly pissed off with me that I didn't publicise it. He says he's done the cam belt not long ago. It's a Mark IV. It's frilly. It's silver, but it's extremely reliable. It regularly drives to Heathrow Airport and back, and he's looking for £500. Okay, but don't piss him around.
If you love Mark IV Golf diesels but hate wheel arches, this is the car for you.
Exactly that. But he said it's there, it's ready to be driven again into the ground. He's had it years and loves it. Years and years and years.
Good. All right. There we go. Well, maybe that's the second thing I have to tell you. Greg Smith has a Golf for sale. Please go and buy it for $580 or near offer. And this third thing I have to tell you is something I discovered a few days ago, and it's a bit grim, but it sort of found it fascinating. You know the nuclear bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima by the Americans during the Second World War. Rather naively, I assumed the bomb was dropped from the plane and hit the ground and exploded, but no. The atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima was actually exploded, deliberately so, 580 metres above the city. It's about 1,900 feet.
That's right.
I didn't know
for the
that.
ultimate
actually
umbrella of doom.
Yeah, I think so. But I just assumed it sort of hit a spot, but no. Apparently the sources vary between 550 and 610 meters. It was deliberately designed to explode as it dropped. So yeah. You're talking to the man who thought that it only took them like a few hours to get to the moon during the first moon landings, and was shocked to discover it's in fact days. I do feel as I get older, I'm starting to realise how thick I am.
Did you say a few hours?
Yeah, I honestly thought. I know. It's one of those things, but it's interesting because I've said this to people, and some people go, "What? Oh, really? Didn't know that." But more often, people go, "Well, yeah. Do you know how far away the moon is?" And I was like, well, I feel like cartoons and science fiction films have lied to us and made us believe that you simply pop to space. But that's not true. You don't. It's bloody miles away. Even the moon is very far from Earth, isn't it? And it takes a while to get there. But also,
if you're
dropping atomic bombs, you explode them in the air, not on the ground, apparently.
Do you know what fascinates me about space?
What's that?
Nothing. That's true.
Nothing at all?
No, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
And do you know why I don't give a shit? I've said this before. You do know, really, because I think I've ranted about it in WhatsApp messages to you.
Yeah.
It's because there's no point in going all that way to do not a great deal over decades and decades and decades when we've got so much shit to sort out on our doorstep. We've got so much pollution to sort out in the sea. We've got so many interesting things that we need to deal with on planet Earth. Why are we bothering to run away and do shit up there?
You know what? I do agree with you. It's fearsomely expensive to do anything involving space, and I do think it speaks to humankind's natural curiosity that we want to know what's out there and what's going on, and that's fine. But yes, you're right. We have a lot of crap of our own making down here, and the amount of money to spend on trying to, for example, colonise Mars, which will never happen because it's absolute bullshit. But,
yes, quite.
Is a bit ridiculous. If you disagree, write to us hello@smithandsniff.com, and we could have a robust debate about it in future. But for now, we should end this. So, thank you ever so much for listening. We're back on Friday with another Ottersot and a regular show the following Monday. Until then, goodbye.
Bye, everybody. CMTMB.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon, what wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise, we've mugs and hats but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime, guys, hey guys, like and subscribe, and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
The Soviets did lots of space travel, but that was before the Brian Curtain came down.
I thought you were going to say the Soviets did a lot of space travel and they were wrong-uns, so you know that space travel is...
And they were all pricks.
Deviants and idiots.